Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not an expert, do your own research. Today I just want to talk about ETH and ETH BTC. I'll just go very briefly into BTC USD. I'll mainly go into BTC USD because this chart is the one that's dictating all the price action for pretty much the entire market, as it normally always does. If BTC USD goes down, then alternately the alt USD pairs will all suffer, generally speaking. There's going to be some outliers, of course, but that's like pretty much, it's pretty standard. Not much has really changed, in my opinion. This is still just like a overall consolidation. I still feel that like these higher levels will get tapped. I just don't know when. As far as actual support, price is currently at one support level around 33K. And the next area up would be 32.2K. I mean, anyone that has very high conviction on where price is going for BTC, you know, they're either like very expert traders or they have no idea what they're talking about. And like, it's very choppy right now on lower time frames. There's a few observations. Like, for one, the 200 EMA on the 4 hour, this is like much healthier in regards to where price is at. Like before, this is like a pretty, I was really scared to long this area because of how much of a gap there was between the EMA and price. And with that said, you'll notice that the other EMAs, I have 20, 50, 100. These are all clumped together in a much more condensed fashion. Whereas back when we saw back in middle of June, there was kind of a big gap between the EMAs and the 200 EMA. The 200 EMA, the red line, is the one that I like to look for. It's like a pretty significant one in my opinion. But as you can see now, the price is much closer to this 200 EMA. And while it's still holding it down, I mean, it hasn't tapped it since June, but when you start to see a lot of compression here, it's very healthy for price in terms of it being a big move, generally speaking. Now, price is still at support. I mean, this 32.7 or 33K area is still support for now. I do feel that this is still going to be okay. The range lows around 31K would like be next up if this area falls. And in that case, I will be very scared because this area is getting tapped over and over and over again. And you generally don't like to see the demand area getting tapped that often. But for now, I mean, it's still consolidating. It's still just ranging. I mean, we're seeing these small moves like 1 to 3%, 1 to 4% every day, where we're going like up and down. But the overall, if you just zoom out, like, I mean, you know, price has ranged here for weeks now and hasn't really done much, relatively speaking. The volatility has gone down relative to what we saw back in May and June, and the volume has really dried up as well. So those are two interesting observations. And like, I think it's too early to start calling for 31K quite yet. And like, I still think that price is fine. But as I said, that's just like a very brief thing on BTC. Let's go more into Ethereum. This is the ETH USD chart on the daily, and this chart looks okay. It doesn't really look, actually looks pretty bad, to be frank and honest with you. What we're seeing right now is just this overall consolidation. There's, like, similar to Bitcoin, this hasn't really moved a ton, relatively speaking. Like, it's been chopping around for the last several weeks. Similar to Bitcoin, the volatility has really dried up quite a bit compared to what it was back in May and June, where we saw price kind of like going all over the place with like high volume. Now volume has kind of shored up, and now price is just kind of within this range. What are we looking at right now? I mean, price right now to me is still just within this range. Support level here at $2,050. And this range, this area has held several times, other than this this small deviation here that we saw right here back in the late June. Overall price has just kind of consolidated within this range, and you could maybe just fib this out as well with just the 50, 100, and 0. Somewhere around there. Like this is, you could use like the body. This range seems okay for the most part. You could also maybe go even higher. Use the body. Regardless, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that price is just consolidating. It looks like like if you zoom out, like 1900 will get tapped. I mean, this is still support though for now, and this area has been tapped over and over again. But for now, it's still support. I mean, we wouldn't really want to see a daily close below this $2,000 level. Price hasn't closed below there in several days or several weeks, really. So, you know, we don't really want to see price close below this $2,090 level, in my opinion. If we start to see that, then like these range lows might be next up around 1950. Like, if you like zoom out overall, like this chart, as I said, doesn't really look great at all. There was a time when I thought the ETH USD chart was looking okay and a little better than BTC, but for now, it just looks like it's really choppy. And like on lower time frames, I mean, we're seeing just the same kind of moves that we are seeing on Bitcoin. We're just seeing a lot of like just moves, like 1 to 3% moves in both directions. 200-day EMA, this is held as support several times. As you can see, price deviated below it again, similarly in late June. And right now it's currently holding as support. With that said, this area is getting tapped over and over again. Not really great to see, but in a contextual standpoint, I mean, it's similar to Bitcoin in the sense that it's really just ranging. There's not really much you can say about ETH USD. On the weekly, I mean, this chart just looks terrible. Like this doesn't look good at all, like, especially with that massive nuke back in May. I mean, again, this doesn't look great. A bullish case that you might see would just be for price to sit and just continue consolidating for a little bit, and if that happens, then we might see something similar to what we saw with previous price action, maybe like what we saw back at like March of 2020. But I mean, this chart on high time frame charts just looks really not very good in my opinion at all. Like this, I don't see how you can really argue this is bullish. As I said, for now, the 200-day EMA is acting as support, and what you want to see is for price to continue to hold above this $2,080 level, and if we can continue in this range, I think price is still going to be okay. Maybe we'll see some deviations like we saw back in late June, but I mean, for now, it just, I can't really see too many actionable trades right now. One actionable trade might be like a break of a daily close below like 2080 and like a target price of like 1950 or so could be good. All the way down to like 1800, depending on what your analysis says. But and then like another potential trade could be like flipping this EQ around 2400 and testing the highs around 2900. Those two trades would be like the ones for me. But for now, I'm not really taking any trades for Ethereum. I'm just kind of just chilling out and just watching. As I said, high time frame charts, it doesn't really look good. I think that a bullish case would be just to see this kind of range and ping pong around. ETH BTC, let's look at ETH BTC now. I mean, what we're seeing is this potential. So we'll look on high time frame charts first. For one, I mean, it's still in a bullish trend in my opinion for high time frame charts. Like, for the weekly, you'll want to see it form like this bottom. And I drew this a while back. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see like 055 tested again in the short term and form this low. And it takes several weeks to form like these lows for like these big moves. Like you'll notice back in March of 2021, and then again back in December of 2020, price like took several weeks to just form this low, and it's going to be similar in this situation as well, especially after this big run that it had since March, where price is just kind of ping-ponging around, and then I'm guessing it'll consolidate around 0.55 and then form a higher low and then continue its move up. There are a lot of catalysts with ETH 2.0 and some other scaling solutions for Ethereum, but if BTC makes another leg down, or if it rips really hard, then like this 0.45 level would be kind of my next level up, in my opinion. That would be kind of like an area of interest. But on lower time frame charts with the 1 day, what we're seeing is like lower highs formed and equal lows, and this could probably be denoted as a lower high again. And the structure to me is bearish on the daily, and it wouldn't surprise me again, as I said, to see 0.55. I think that's pretty likely at this point. It's another 10% down or so. That's kind of what I'm thinking in terms of ETH BTC. Is this continues to go lower and it will meet this 200-day EMA. ETH is still my biggest altcoin position, and I still like just have a stack of ETH I just hold just because I don't want to fuck it up. Like I have compounded it in the past, and that's like usually my strategy is to keep compounding. But it wouldn't surprise me at all to see like another tap at this 0.55 level. And if you look at it on the daily again, like I'm expecting it just to consolidate and hopefully hold 0.55. But as I said, the market structure is bearish in my opinion, so you'll want to see it form some sort of higher low on a macro standpoint, and then after the market structure breaks again, like this will continue being bearish for a while, similar to how we saw it back in like September of 2020, where this just kept going lower and lower, followed by some sort of catalyst or news or just like environment where alts are doing well. Like that's what you'll want to see, like we saw in January 2021. You'll look for something like this where like big volume comes in and like a big spike up and then continuation. So on the daily, it's still bearish in my opinion. 0.55 is kind of like my target for next up, and then going from there, like who knows. I still believe that ETH BTC is still in like a macro bullish market structure though, so hopefully some consolidation here at 0.55 and then continuing up to higher levels. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Good luck and thank you for the support.